Okay, so hi, my name is Aide, and today I am trying to record this for the gajillionth time, and I'm hoping this one sticks. If not, screw it. I'm gonna post like whatever mid version I end up with. So, um, this past week, like I've had a couple thoughts run through my head, and I kind of want to like talk to myself about them and kind of just like sees where see where this like ride takes us. And I think or at least in my opinion, I came up with like a decently clever name, and that'll kind of just like preview um what we're going to be talking about today. So, 3 topics: journalists are cool, Kalshi needs to burn, what's it like being an influencer. Um, and so, yeah, these are like a few thoughts that I've had. And let's get into the first one, I guess. It's going to be choppy. I'm sorry. I don't have like incredible segues. I'm not going to edit this because I don't have any storage on iMovie anymore. I'm sorry. Okay. So, journalists are cool. Um Maybe this is like, I was gonna say man discovers fire, but that was like actually an incredible discovery. But it's like girl discovers what's something basic. Girl discovers matcha. I don't know. Um, like something that everyone knows about, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, have y'all heard about this? And it's like, girl, we've been on that. Um, and really, I had this thought because, hear me out, I've been really interested in Hunter Biden recently. And it's like, when you think about it, it's like, how could you not? He's a past president's son, and like his lore goes crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, look him up and tell me that you don't want to learn more about that. So I was interested in Hunter Biden. I watched his initial interview with Andrew Callahan on Channel 5 News, which is like a YouTube channel. And I was like, wow, he's like really interesting and just kind of just like a straightforward guy, right? So I watched that interview, and I was like, if I were to see him in something again, I'll watch it because I enjoyed the video. And then I saw that last week he did a podcast with one of the I Have Had It host. I think her name is Jennifer Welch. And they were incredibly entertaining together. Like, they talked about serious topics, but also, for the most part, it was like a gossip sesh. And they both let their hair down and had a good time. And I had a good time watching them have a good time. And then, as YouTube does, it recommended another one of his interviews, but this one was in a more serious setting. So this one was Hunter Biden sitting down with NPR and their journalists to, just let him like ask questions. And so the journalist kind of hits him with like very good questions, some tough ones, and when like Hunter Biden would try to like maybe, well, I honestly don't think he tried to dodge many questions, but like when he like starts rambling and loses track of the question or whatever, the interviewer didn't just like move past it. Like, he was like, okay, well, could you elaborate on how this relates to that? And I feel like in a world where anyone has access to a microphone, call coming from inside the house, um and like celebrities like Amy Poehler, having a podcast where they like host their celebrity friends and they kind of just like geek out about each other and their work and stuff like that. And in a world of like therapists where he asked Kylie Jenner what she orders at Nobu, and what is Stormi's favorite color. I think it's like very important that serious figures that like have like influence in the world get to sit down and get grilled a little bit. And look, this is no shade to Miss Amy Poehler or Mr. Jake Shane from Therapist. I thoroughly enjoy watching the clips of him giggling with Ed Sheeran and realizing that was an inappropriate time to laugh when your legs don't work. And he's like, hilarious gold. Amy Poehler, wonderful, wonderful lady. Her episode with Jonathan Groff, I love that. I loved it. I do. And I continue to watch her stuff. But once again, in a world where, podcast interviews are mainly just like geeking out with your celeb friends and stuff like that, it's very important that these people with like influence and like the stuff they do can have like an impact on many people's lives. It's kind of cool that there's people who went to school to figure out the perfect way to grill them, to figure out the perfect way to like ask them tough questions. And I think that nowadays sometimes a tough question can kind of be immediately perceived as hostile and being a hater or something like that. But I think it's important that there's people with the skill set and a passion, a skill set to formulate a good question, and a passion and allegiance to the truth and accuracy in these situations. Because like for example, Hunter Biden, he's had like a very controversial past, and since he's like what kind of made me see like a real journalist interview, I'll use him as an example. One of the like tough questions were like, do you think you should have taken the job in this board when your father was like vice president or president or something like that? And he was like, well, no. And he elaborates on something. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's very it's such a good opportunity to be asked that question on a neutral platform where, once again, someone's just interested in the truth and accuracy. And you get to like share your point of view. You know what I mean? Your story, your side. And that's like incredibly valuable. On the other hand, I do want to reiterate that it is fun to see podcasts, but I think that what kind of like really drove home wow, this is really cool, like journalists are really cool, once again, was another like serious interview with a politician. Not that Hunter Biden's a politician, I don't know, but this one was with a politician, and it was the New York Times. They had the opportunity to sit down with Zohran Mamdani. I would just like to say, Mr. Mamdani, huge fan of your work. And see, that right there is why I think it's important that even really like nice individuals and politicians are sat down. Because I'm a fan of Mr. Mamdani. And you know what? I shouldn't be, because at the end of the day, what are politicians? Public employees, government employees, and what should they do? Better the lives of their citizens. And I shouldn't be trying to impress them. They should be trying to impress me and you. They should be aiming for Employee of the Month every day. And that's why I appreciated this New York Times journalist who sat down with Mr. Mamdani, and she was kind of just like super chill lady, but she got down to business. And obviously, like, Zoran Mamdani is known for like his smiles, like, and you know what? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's so nice to see someone who doesn't have like a sinister aura about them running a city or something. But he kind of tried to his way out of a few questions, and she was not letting up. He would be like, currently I'm focused on New York. And she's like, okay, well, I'm not asking about New York. And I know you're doing the little dance around, so I would appreciate you answering the question that I'm asking you. And it's like, wow, get him. And once again, I'm a fan. But I also appreciate a real ass bitch. And that's what she was. And she has an allegiance to the truth and a journalism degree. And that's kind of really all I have to say about it. Like, I think it's just so cool to have that skill set, to be that good, and to be providing a service to the world. And I don't think that they've been getting enough credit lately. And I kind of just want to, shine the spotlight on y'all. Hey, shout out journalists, you know what I mean? Not that they need me and my loyal, I don't even know how many of y'all there are, my loyal viewer, me. And yeah, I want to shout y'all out because y'all are stars and a pillar of this community. And yeah, success. And I hope all of you guys get access to a mic and keep fighting the good fight. Love you, journalist, forever. Mwah. And that's that. On to a more serious note. Guys, Kalshi needs to burn. And for legal purposes, just know I'm not about that business. I will never go out of my way to do any of the things that I'm saying here. This is allegedly, in my opinion. And with that being said, I need a water break. Sorry, because this is also going to be unedited. Whoops. Don't mind me. ASMR, I guess. I'm scared you heard me I'm scared you heard me gulp that down, but nature calls, I guess. Yeah, so Kalshi needs to burn. Why do I say that? Well, as any culturally aware young woman enjoying her summer, I was religiously watching Love Island this summer. And with that, obviously Love Island content infiltrated my my TikTok For You page. Along with that, one of the videos that was really trying and pestering me on my For You page was Kalshi ads. And for those of you who don't know, I'm sorry to be exposing you to this firsthand, but Kalshi is a gambling app. And what they were doing is promoting their app to Love Island viewers because they allowed you to bet on the outcomes of Love Island. So let's say you were like, ugh, Casey after Casa Amor, no longer winning the money, like no longer winning the money. You can go on Kalshi and bet that Casey's gonna be in the least favorite couple, or that they're gonna be dumped from the villa, whatever the hell. And as like a paranoid person, or like someone who takes things to the extreme, I was kind of like, yo, is this like voter fraud? Because hear me out. So Love Island is obviously a show where like they'll host like votes and stuff like that, and it'll be like, vote your favorite couple, vote who should couple up with the bombshell, vote your least favorite couple, who should leave the villa, like stuff like that, you know? So in that sense, the viewers are actively playing a role in the outcome of this show, where someone wins money, and just like in general, the outcome of the show. So I feel like if viewers, the public, have input in the outcome of the show, and you have an app that allows you to bet on the outcome of the show, then isn't that a conflict of interest? Like at the very least, like, okay, now for an example, maybe now we have this individual who put money on Melanie and Sincere, right? And so maybe they go on TikTok and now they, you know, are making pro Melanie and Sincere content. They're bashing other couples and stuff like that, so that they influence people to vote in their favor, because maybe they want their Kalshi parlay to hit and they want to make $20 off of that little vote, you know what I mean? So that was kind of just like my first turn off. I was like, I don't like that. I take my Love Island very seriously, and I don't want Kalshi bros ruining that for me. I was like, I don't like that, and it's unethical in my opinion. So strike one. And then I end up finding out that you can vote on the outcome of actual political races. Excuse me, what? So my fears about y'all interfering with my girly TV show are now being transferred to like potential real life law and legislation and like a bunch of other like serious things in real life. And okay, I think it like same applies here. Like, people have the ability to vote. They have the ability to influence people to vote certain ways, especially now with the internet, where like any one video can pop off. Like, what if I just started a crazy rumor about a candidate? It pops off, no one fact checks me, which is not a crazy thing to happen nowadays, and I ruin their chances of winning a race, all for $20 on Kalshi. Are you serious, bro? Imagine like meddling with the state of the country over a parlay. Wait. And like, okay, that is like an extreme that I'm taking things to. Sorry, like my tongue twister. That's an extreme that I'm taking this to. But also, like, it's not something impossible. It's not something that, like, it's not sci-fi. It's low-key a possibility. Like, what if that were to happen? That is insane, and that is not okay. And then strike 3 is, I see that apparently, so we can vote on Love Island outcomes, we can vote on political races. You know, the secret third thing that is not so secret that you can vote on Kalshi is FDA clinical trial outcomes. So I think we all know that, like, in order for like certain medications, vaccines, and stuff like that, or I don't know why I said certain, I think all, I don't know, let's say medications, vaccines, treatments, all of these things, they have to like undergo testing, and all of that is like regulated by the FDA or whatever. So apparently you can bet on what the outcome of a clinical trial for a certain drug is going to be. So hypothetically, do you think this new strain or this new off-brand Ozempic is going to pass the clinical trial? Yes or no? And look, I'm not saying that the head of the FDA, the head of this pharmaceutical or whatever pharmaceutical company is betting his bag on Kalshi, and like using insider information to, to like kind of, make a more favorable bet. Or I'm not saying that people are bribing people and the FDA or whatever the heck to like get things passed that shouldn't be passed, or like scientists are faking data to whatever. But I am saying that it's like, what if that did happen? And all of this, once again, for someone's parlay to hit. And that is not okay. Like, that is not okay at all. So I think just like on the corruption is bad end of it, I don't like Kalshi. And I don't. And that is just like the level of corruption that my sick little mind thought of, right? And this is all alleged, of course, all in my opinion, all my little like theory, like, what if? I'm not saying that this is happening. I'm not saying that this is even really a possibility. I'm just saying that I'm hypothesizing off of no basis other than like me being like, so I already don't like that aspect of any of it. But then I get another TikTok, and it's like this news story. I actually did Google this, so apparently this, I hate making like definitive statements on here, deadass. So allegedly, DraftKings, another gambling app, it's really huge. I'm sure like if you watch like any sporting event lately, like you'll get a DraftKings ad or whatever. And apparently they do this thing where it's like, if you're like a super gambler or use the app a lot, they kind of like put you into tiers, and based on those tiers they will like reward you with like trips to places and whatever. Like they'll just treat you for being such like a loyal user of their gambling platform. And so apparently there's like this specific instance where this man was like struggling with a gambling addiction on DraftKings, and he was like betting millions of dollars, and I think he was like at least $1 million in debt over this gambling addiction. And because of that, like that loyalty and use of DraftKings, he was in a pretty high tier, to the point where one of his incentives or like gifts was a personalized video of like I'm pretty sure he was an active MLB athlete being like, "Hey Bob, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being such a good fan. I hope Bobby Jr. is like doing great, and that you guys like, thank you so much for supporting us on DraftKings," and blah 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 blah. And like using his personal name, it's an active MLB player, and he's talking to you. and stuff, and he received that video along with, I think, like trips somewhere and other like cool things, right? And let's get into the active MLB player of it all before getting into DraftKings itself. So I guess I don't want to fault the athlete for not like knowing every single little detail about the person he's dedicating the video to, you know? He was probably just like hit up like, "Hey, here's 50 grand for you to make this like short 10-second video," or whatever, you know? And I mean, if I want to get up on my high horse, I would be like, maybe we should expect him to have done his due diligence to like know, hey, so who is this guy, like what's he like is he good, stuff like that, you know, so that maybe he's not an active participant in this guy's like addiction, you know what I mean? But like, okay, like whatever, maybe that just didn't even cross his mind, and maybe like we shouldn't put it on him to have that thought, you know? But my question is, once again, going back when I kind of gave like the FDA example, like what if there's like a scientist who fudges data a little bit to make sure that the drug they're working on passes the clinical trial, and therefore they make money on these gambling apps, you know what I mean? As an active athlete, let's say you're playing games, right? You're playing this huge game. Guess what? DraftKings has like an open bet going on that if your team loses, like it's gonna make DraftKings like a bunch of money with people like losing the bet or winning the bet. I don't know how gambling works, to be honest. But let's say if your team loses, that's good for DraftKings. Isn't that bad? Like, doesn't that mean that in some ways you could be incentivized to ensure a certain outcome, and as a player you have that ability? So my question is, why are athletes allowed to partake in this at all, either by like the sports associations that they're part of, or like legally, you know what I mean? And I thought that was like an actual rule that like if you're an athlete that you can't gamble, but you can be sponsored by like a gambling app. I'm like, make it make sense. Like the math, like 2 + 2 is 6, 7 all of a sudden, you know what I mean? So just that aspect alone. And then going into the DraftKings of it all, it's kind of just like, okay, you have these tiers and you have all of this data, all of these metrics. I would hypothetically, allegedly ponder, can you tell if someone is struggling with gambling addiction by looking at their metrics? I don't know. I think you might. I think, like, if I Google all of a sudden, like, pink sweater or whatever, and I click on Urban Outfitters and it knows that I'm a female in Texas and all of these other things, I think that these gambling apps probably can deduce based on your behaviors and your location and all of these like other habits that they can get from your metrics. I think they would most likely allegedly know that someone is going through something and that someone is struggling because of the service that you provide. And so in that case, I think it's insane to like incentivize this and kind of make it more difficult if this man is in recovery. and kind of like tantalizing him with like, oh, if you gamble, like you can meet your favorite athlete and stuff like that. Like that is screwed up, because I mean, realistically, there's not many people who can be a million, or who can lose $1 million and go about their lives like nothing happened. Like, these things have real life consequences on people. And the fact that it got this bad is insane. The fact that there's probably like, maybe there is, but the fact that, like, is there legislation in place to prevent people from being taken advantage of? Because in my opinion, that's what it is. And when you make it to where people can bet on silly things like Love Island, like what's maybe, I'm making this up, what is going to be the Pantone color of the year, like when you allow people to bet on like mundane silly things, I feel like it normalizes gambling, and maybe that's kind of like the slippery slope for some people. Like, okay, I bet $5, I made 10, let me bet a little more. Oh, I lost it, let me bet to like make that up. And then it kind of turns into like a slippery slope, and you're like, holy crap, how did I lose like $1 million? And of course, it's like people are responsible for their own actions and stuff like that, but you can create an environment in which you're certainly like pushing people off a ledge. And I don't know, I don't think that's okay. I don't think that's ethical, and I don't think, I don't know, I don't think you should be able to sleep at night if you are the king of draft. But yeah, that was kind of like something that I saw that, yeah, just didn't sit right with me at all. And I guess that is like, that concludes why my thought process on why I initially was like, Kalshi needs to burn. And I guess that brings us to, what's it like being an influencer? And once again, we're gonna take a quick ASMR water break. Yay! Everyone's favorite part. I'm sorry, I'm thirsty. It's like hot, and I have to wear like a sweater, which probably doesn't make sense, but it's for like the cozy aesthetic of it all. So I'm doing this for you. Okay. So I'm not gonna lie, this part, when I'm like, I've recorded this like a gazillion times, this part is what I've been struggling with. And I mean, I hope this is like third time's the charm. You know what I mean? Because I'm kind of going into it this time with the notion that it's like, girl, I'm not like painting the Mona Lisa here. I'm literally speaking into the abyss. This is casual. I want it to be like that. I want it to be where I'm just having thoughts out loud, and maybe they go nowhere. Maybe they literally are so boring that everyone has clicked off at this point. And I don't know. I wanted to take that pressure off of myself, and also set the bar really low for anyone still here. So yeah, recently I had the thought, what's it like being an influencer? And a quick disclaimer is, I guess this goes back to like my journalist are cool point, where it's like, not every little like question or curiosity or comment that isn't like overly like glowing is meant to be hostile. Like, that's not my point at all. I really just want to like, I don't know, I'm a curious person. I want to, I don't know, I just want to talk. So yeah, that is my disclaimer. I don't want to be a hater. At the end of the day, if you want to be like, well, you're broke, they're rich, yeah, it got me there, you know what I mean? Like, it's not in a hater way at all, is what I want to say. So recently I've been like scrolling on, I always scroll on TikTok, but recently when I scroll on TikTok, I've like come across like lifestyle influencer content, right? And for the most part, these like big lifestyle influencers are living like extremely different lives than when they started their account. So their lives, from what they post, are like extremely luxurious and like very soft life, aesthetically pleasing kind of content and lifestyle, right? And I feel like to viewers, maybe that, or that luxury is part of the appeal, right? Like, realistically, like, when am I ever gonna see what the inside of a Birkin bag looks like? Never. When am I ever gonna see like firsthand a gorgeous high-rise New York City apartment with like a doorman and like the best of the best furniture and purebred dogs running around? Like, never. I actually, no. Let's take a quick manifestation break, and I take back that negative thought. All of you watching will accomplish all of your goals and dreams and be very prosperous monetarily. Yeah, I don't want to block anyone's blessings. So yeah, like, I get the appeal. Like, it's just nice. It's nice to see, you know what I mean? When that's not necessarily like everyone's day-to-day lives. So that's kind of like my outlook on that. Like, it's $30 dirty martinis and just like luxurious aesthetic, kind of just like slow get ready with me morning. And then we have another, I would say they are also lifestyle influencers, streamers. And honestly, I don't sit down and watch streamers or anything, but I do get a couple of clips and stuff like that, especially with like Streamer University having happened recently, right? So at a glance, many of them, again, they're gamers, they do commentary, and for the most part, they're way less polished than like what I said, the soft life, glamorous lifestyle influencers, but they are lifestyle influencers. And instead of mornings in the Hamptons, we get Streamer University. And from the clips that I saw, I thought it was like very funny seeing like people who for the most part hadn't been to college kind of cosplay as college students. And that wasn't even like the more surreal parts. Like, I like seeing them all like put on like their uniforms, and it's like, girl, this is college. Like, you can wear pajama pants if you want. But I think what was like more surreal than anything was, yes, they're living their lives, but their lives are like, maybe they're having a conversation with someone, but they're both having a conversation with each other, but with the chat, if that makes sense. Like, you're living for the chat at that point. And like, the interactions were just like so odd. And like, obviously with Streamer University, you have like a gajillion people all just like l- living their lives and stuff like that, and some are like incredibly successful, they're making like millions of dollars and stuff like that, but their lifestyle is to live for the chat. And I mean, they also like show off their wealth and stuff like that, but it's like to a different extent. So again, there's nothing inherently evil about that being your career, right? But I do wonder how fulfilling the day to day may be. Because again, when you're like, when you're this kind of like lifestyle influencer, I feel like it must be like a bit draining to have to live your life where your life is the product that you're selling. And not only that, it's not like you just like open up your life, press post or whatever, or you press record on Twitch or whatever, and just like do whatever you want, and it's like freeing, and maybe it is like that for some people, but unless you turn comments off or whatever, which is like not an ideal for an influencer because you need that engagement and stuff like that, you are being bombarded with like hundreds, thousands, millions of comments with someone providing input into the way that you live your life. Like, well, I would have gotten a white Birkin instead of a pink. Well, your form is off. Like, even if it's just like, girl, you look so good today, like, blah, blah, like, that is validating, but it's like, holy crap, to like always have someone's opinion on your mind is the worst. Like, literally, I think I still have Twitter, I just don't get on it anymore much. But it's like, bad trade on my part. But I like get on my phone in the morning, and Twitter, like, I can't get on there because it's just like I'm having too many of other people's thoughts in my brain right now, and that's just not okay. And it's not even like it's people replying to my tweets, just simply like scrolling through it and like seeing the amount of like thoughts out there bombarding me was too much for me. So I can't imagine where people are providing input into my life every single second of the day, and I can't stop because that is my career. You know what I mean? And like another added layer to this is, okay, you make it as an influencer, aside from like the constant input into your life, it's also like you get to the point where you don't have a 9 to 5. You don't really have to like grind every single day or like a routine where you go into an like, yeah, you don't have a 9 to 5. And in, I guess what I wonder is like, is that monotonous? Like, how are you filling your days? And also, when you get to that point, once again, you don't have a 9 to 5, but you have all of this money, then your content is going to have like a drastic shift, right? Like, you're no longer being like, get ready with me to go to school or whatever. You don't have to go to school. You're a millionaire. So now your day or your vlog would be like, get ready with me to go to Solid Core. Get ready with me to like try this $30 drink at Erewhon. Get ready with me to buy this bracelet at Cartier. I just bought a Lambo. Like, all of these things. And it's like, okay, so now your content went from like you being a regular person that people relate to. Now your life, your product is you showing people how good you are at spending money. And like, once again, I wonder, like, is that fulfilling? Is your day to day, like, is every day interesting? Is every day, like, what do you think about your life if you truly sit down? And I think maybe that's just a thought that I have because I'm not someone in that position. So I literally cannot imagine. And that's why, like, I had this thought in the first place. Like, I am obviously someone who, like, I have to eventually have a 9 to 5, and I did that. I have to figure out a career so that I can sustain myself, so that I can pay my bills, so that I can live my life. And like, I guess maybe as a result of that, I've had to like grow to have ambitions. Like, I want to be a scientist and stuff like that. But like, and I am passionate about that stuff. Like, I do want to learn like science. I want to talk to people about science and stuff like that. But it's kind of like chicken or the egg. Like, do I have these ambitions because I'm never going to be a millionaire? Knock on wood. I'm waiting for that bag any day, any day now. But like, is it ambition bred because it's like kind of like survival of the fittest? Or like, if I were to come into like this kind of like influencer success and stuff like that, would I still want to pursue the things that I want right now? And I guess that me every 2 seconds, that is my question. I have a ton of questions, but I'm only human, you know what I mean? And yeah, I want to know if, especially people that pop off really young, like 15, 16, people who pop off even in their 20s and their 30s, dude, from 20s to retirement, that's a long time, dude. Like, 40 years of just like, I don't want to say it like this, but like 40 years of like doing nothing. I don't know. And that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe I just can't fathom. Like, once again, like, I don't yearn for the mines. Like, I don't want to slave away for the rest of my days. But I do think I want to like keep myself busy, have like something to show for my life or whatever. And I don't know, like, I think back to pre-K or whatever, where like you ask kids, at least back in my day, you ask kids like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And they're like, ooh, I want to be a scientist, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an actress, I want to be a chef and stuff like that. And I'm sure a lot of these influencers probably gave similar answers, you know what I mean? And I wonder if that kind of like shifted for them, because it's like, who, like, between being bored and rich and bored and not, who wouldn't pick like the easier path to money? Who wouldn't pick being an influencer over having a 9 to 5, realistically? So I wonder if, like, if you can make all the money in the world doing jobs such as doctors or freaking magicians, or what was like another example, or chef, or like, you know what I mean, or teacher, like, if they could live comfortably like an influencer, would more people choose that and strive for that and still continue to do that if given another option? And if that were the case, it's like, then I think it's sad that, like, because of resources, you kind of don't get you can't really chase your passion to the fullest, and live like your best life in that sense. And yeah. Okay, one kind of, it's on topic but like a little bit off based on off of like what I've been talking about. But another thing that I do, I'm like, what's it like being an influencer and getting like a 5-figure check for like promoting, I don't know, like, damn, let me think of like a random product. Like some trendy probiotic soda. Like 50K being like, hey guys, I love this grape flavored soda. You should buy it. And it's like, cling, next day, $50 or $50,000 check. And my thought is, do influencers think that they earned every single cent? Because, hear me out, I'm not saying that, like, if a company is using your name and in turn they make like $10 million, then you should be getting your fair share of that $10 million. But let's say you get 50K. Do you think out of those 50K, you earned every single cent? Because if you did, then so did the marketing intern who like put together your like metrics, your stats, who sent you emails and stuff like that to like get this brand deal going. They deserve that fair share. So do the graphic designers who decide the packaging. So do the people in the manufacturing assembly line who put the product together that your fans are buying. And it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's like, I don't know, I would like, obviously it takes work, it takes talent to be an influencer. I don't want to negate that. But you have to admit that the amount of money that they're cashing for 3-minute TikTok ads or like sponsored posts is insane. So I kind of do want to know if they're just like, I work hard for my money. 60K worth hard? I don't, that is my one random thing. And I guess to tie it back into a nice little bow, I would just like to say, I hope that one day everyone who watches this and everyone who isn't get paid their fair share, their worth. That if you are striving to accomplish whatever is your passion in life, to own a coffee shop, to be a scientist, shout out, because that's what I'm trying to do, to be a scientist, to be an actor, to be a doctor, lawyer, welder, whatever the heck you want to be, I hope that your journey is easier, that you accomplish everything that you want to be, and that it is fulfilling and rewarding, and that you are comfortable and proud of yourself for how you got there. And that one day we all can afford a Birkin and a Lambo. And yeah, sorry if it's not like a groundbreaking conversation and you leave feeling like a more interesting person for having heard me out on this video. But yeah, I genuinely wish everyone the best, and thank you for tuning in to Journalists Are Cool, Kalshi Needs to Burn, What's It Like Being an Influencer. And yeah, I think next time what I actually want to talk about is shows that the youth needs to watch, because I am like a die-hard TV lover, and let's lighten up the mood. I'm tired of being thought daughter. THOUGHT. Did I spell that right? Imagine I'm like thought daughter and I misspell thought. That's crazy. Um, but yeah, I'm tired of being pondering daughter, and I want to have a little fun. So that's what hopefully next video will be. And I will not promise a date, but until then, thank you for anyone who heard me out, and see you next time. See you never. Who knows? But yeah, bye. Okay, I'm literally like getting ready to go watch the Odyssey or whatever, but I'm like watching my video before I post it, and bro, I guess what I'm trying to say is, as an influencer, there's plenty of influencers, there's lifestyle influencers, and you get to see how much money they make, how much money they're spending, because that is their job, to post how good they're living, because that's the aesthetic that people want to consume. Period. My thought watching this now is like, there's also influencers who all they do is hit the whoa, and they're making millions of dollars and they're building careers off of that. And my point is, like, if you're one of those influencers who just hits the whoa every single day, it hits the nay whatever, like trendy TikTok dance, I don't know, I'm like now, I'm fucking 24, I don't know the moves. If that is your day to day and you're making millions of dollars, A, do you think you deserve that money and you work hard for your money? And B is, at the end of your life, will you be like, I contributed hella lip sync videos to the world? Is that fulfilling? Because in my opinion, who am I to tell you that being rich is not the most fulfilling thing in my life, or in your life, or whatever? But that was kind of my thought. Like, I think that's the basis of what I was saying, and I was maybe too sleepy to get to the point. But yeah, think about it. Think about it.